So today I want to share with you guys a really neat program that's really more kind of like a software center. It is a nice GUI program to help you manage your Flatpaks. This program is called Warehouse. People have been telling me about it for the last, I would say, a couple of months. I've been hearing a lot about this program, so I recently installed it, and I've got to say this is a pretty fantastic program. Now, Warehouse, you can find the source code available over on GitHub. They are licensed under the GPL v3, so it is free and open source software. Under releases, you can see the last release was 2.0.2, and that was 3 days ago, so I've got the latest release because I installed Warehouse via Flatpak. Flatpaks update themselves, so I should be on the latest release. If I scroll down a little bit, you can see the primary language that this is programmed in is Python. So those of you that maybe want to contribute to the project, if you know a little Python, you should be good. Now let me switch over to another workspace and let me actually launch the Warehouse program so you guys can see this in action. And you can see it is a nice, really attractive kind of GUI package manager, if you will. If I move my head out of the way, it basically has 3 columns here. On the left side, you've got this here, which is really more of a menu. You can see we've got packages, remotes, user data, snapshots, and install packages. I'm going to go back to packages. So packages are my installed packages. So this is everything I have installed as a Flatpak. Now I don't have a ton of Flatpaks installed on my system. So my main distribution here on this particular machine, it's running Arco Linux, and being an Arch-based distribution, I have so much software that is natively packaged for Arch Linux, or it's in the AUR, the Arch user repository. You know, I do install a lot of things as snaps and Flatpaks and app images. I really don't care where I get my software. You know, I'll install any package format available, but because on Arch-based distros, it's not that necessary. You know, I just have a handful of Flatpaks installed. In this case, I have a handful of snaps. I keep, a dozen or so app images around for various things. But you can see in the center column, this is just a list of the things I already have installed. We do have a couple of buttons here where I could filter the packages, or I could select certain packages for various actions. If I select, for example, this Discord Flatpak, I could tick that on, and then I could perform an action such as uninstall if I wanted to uninstall that particular Flatpak. Now, I do not want to uninstall any of these. The filter option would be great if you had like a ton of Flatpaks installed. And of course, some distributions do use Flatpak as their primary packaging format. So if you're on one of those distributions, the filtering option is probably something really useful. Now, on this far right-hand column, if I select one of my Flatpaks, for example, the bottles Flatpak here, you can see it's going to give me information about bottles. It's going to tell me how much user data it is using, the installed size. It's going to give me the application ID, licensing information, installation information, and commit information as well. And once again, if you want to uninstall it, you can uninstall it right here on this right-hand sidebar, or you can also just launch the program. You do have a couple of different menus here. Now, the main menu is actually over here on this far left column where you get Open Files, Keyboard Shortcuts, and About Warehouse. You can see if I go to the About information, this is Warehouse 2.0.2. Again, this is the absolute latest version. And then Keyboard Shortcuts. Now, I haven't played really with any of the keyboard shortcuts. It's interesting they include key bindings for a program like this, because this kind of program really, I don't know why you would necessarily want hotkeys for any actions. I think it's this is one of the rare programs where I think most people are just going to want to point and click on things, and I'm a key binding guy, so I love programs having key bindings, but I'm probably not going to play too much with the key bindings. You also have a second menu, if you will, over here on the right column. So when you have this information about a specific Flatpak, you pick a Flatpak here, you get this little column over here. You can show, for example, details about this particular Flatpak. If it's got anything to show, you can reinstall if you need to reinstall, for example, bottles. In this case, you can copy the launch command, and you can also view snapshots. Now, view snapshots is interesting. So over here, of course, remember we had packages, remotes, user data, and snapshots. I don't have any snapshots. What is a snapshot? Well, with Flatpak, you can take snapshots of a particular Flatpak. So it's like a snapshot where it's basically a snapshot of the Flatpak in that current state with that current user data or whatever, kind of like you take a snapshot of your Linux system, for example. Well, this is the same thing, except specifically for that Flatpak. Now, obviously, I don't have any snapshots, but I do know this. The command for some Flatpak actions, like taking snapshots or purging old data, things like that, they're not commands that I'm going to remember. And I'm a terminal guy, right? I always have to go look up certain commands when I do them with Flatpak. But this GUI front end, this program warehouse, really makes some of these actions very easy. The snapshot actions, obviously, but also things like user data. I just mentioned user data. We have all of the Flatpaks that I have installed here. You can see this is the active data, and then leftover data. This is leftover data from Flatpaks I did have installed, but I don't have installed now. This is the OBS Flatpak. I have OBS installed just as the native Arch package right now, but I guess I had the Flatpak version of OBS installed previously, and there's some leftover data. You can see about 9 megabytes of data, and I can actually delete that. So that's really cool, because normally to do that action is some kind of command, some Flatpak terminal command, a command line. I don't know what the command is. I always got to go Google it, right? So this is really nice that Warehouse allows me to do that. Also, under the remote section, of course, you can connect to various repositories. FlatHub, of course, is already connected here. You can see that's the current remote. We can add other popular remotes, such as the App Center remote or the FlatHub beta remote, or you could add a custom remote. So if you had a custom repository, maybe you have your own custom repository of Flatpaks that you build, you could obviously add that as well. And of course, some people will want to use this as a way to install packages. So if I click on install packages, we can actually go ahead and search in FlatHub for, I don't know, Zoom. I know Zoom has a Flatpak. I have Zoom installed on my system, but I didn't install it as a Flatpak. But if I wanted to, I go ahead and click on that, and you can see here in the right-hand column, now I get some information about Zoom, and if I move my head once again, you can see this button here, install. Now, I'm not going to install it, but that is pretty easy. And yeah, I've got to say, installing Flatpaks sometimes can be a little tricky at the command line, even though that's certainly one of the easier things to do. Flatpak install name of package. But remember, the name of the packages are not necessarily, for example, bottles. It's not Flatpak install bottles. It's Flatpak install com.usebottles.bottles is actually the name of the package, right? It's very weird. Mission Center here is io.missioncenter.missioncenter with some weird capitalization going on, right? So I think a lot of people will find it easier to go both search for certain programs and install certain programs as a Flatpak using a GUI front end like Warehouse. So there you have it. Really cool little program, guys. Go check out Warehouse. You can install Warehouse with Flatpak. Just do a Flatpak install Warehouse. Even though Warehouse is not the actual real name of the program, Flatpak is pretty smart. It will ask you, do you want to install io.github.warehouse, whatever the name of the just answer yes to that question. Now, before I go, I need to thank a few special people. I need to thank the producers of this show. Of course, I'm talking about Matt, Steve, Armored Dragon, Cap, Caveman, Darloff, Daedalus, George, Lee, Mythos, Urion, Paul, Peace, Archer, Medora, Realities for Less, Red Prophet, Roland, Wargento, and Ubuntu, and Willie. These guys, they're my highest tiered patrons over on Patreon. Without these guys, this episode would not have been possible. The show is also brought to you by each and every one of these fine ladies and gentlemen. All these names you're seeing on the screen right now, these are my supporters over on Patreon, because I don't have any corporate sponsors. I'm sponsored by you guys, the community. If you like my work, please subscribe to DistroTube over on Patreon. Peace, guys.